Hello everyone, I'm LuanneLewis. Welcome to Symbaloo training. So to begin with, what is Symbaloo? Symbaloo is a website that allows us to manage all of our favorite electronic resources by bookmarking these in the cloud. Then we can access these from any device. We've all been in the situation where we're in our office, on our office desktop, we have our great resources bookmarked. We leave the office, go into a classroom, work on that computer, we no longer have access to our bookmarks. Symbaloo facilitates a way for us to do this and access these from any device. It could be a tablet, it could be a phone, it could be a computer in another classroom, it could be a computer across campus, or a computer across the country. Symbaloo also facilitates creation of personal learning environments. I really like to think of this as a personalized or a customized learning environment, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Symbaloo has a lot of powerful options. We probably won't get to all of those today because that would be overwhelming, but I want you to know that that's available in future training. So what we plan to do for today is to create a free Symbaloo account for you to use, create a web mix, and some new tiles. You probably won't create as many tiles as you would in the long term, but you can add more tiles after the training. We'll also show you how to share your work. So, how will we know that we've achieved our objectives today? You will have a product that's a web mix in Symbaloo. So in a minute, I'd like for you to go to Symbaloo.com. You're also going to need to log into your email account. When you register for a free account in Symbaloo, you're going to use an email address. So the email account that you log into needs to be the same one that you're going to use for logging into Symbaloo. So in a minute, after you pause the video, we'll come back, press play again, and then I'll show you how to register in Symbaloo and also how to get started. To get started with your free Symbaloo account, you should be at Symbaloo.com, create your free account, click on that link, that button, then you'll see this window, fill in your name, your email address, your password, repeat your password. You can decide if you want to receive important updates or not. If you don't want to receive emails from Symbaloo, I suggest that you uncheck that box, and you need to check that you agree to Symbaloo's terms and conditions, and then create my account. Let's take a few minutes to get familiar with the Symbaloo screen. In the upper left-hand corner, you see the Symbaloo icon. It says Start Simple. In the center of the toolbar, there are three buttons: Options, Remove, and Share. I want to caution you now about the Remove button. The Remove button actually removes a web mix, so you don't want to accidentally click on that after you've created a web mix that has 40 or 50 tiles and you just intend to delete one tile, and instead you accidentally delete or remove the entire web mix. So here's an example of that. I have a web mix that I've created here. If I decide I want to remove that, I click the Remove button, and it's going to prompt me and remind me that I'm about to delete the entire web mix, and in this case I'm going to say yes. But you will not want to do that very often. You want to keep your web mix. We will talk about the Share button after we create a web mix and create some tiles. There are several other icons and buttons here for you to explore and look at. We will save that for another time, or you can explore those things on your own. So the first thing that I would like for you to do is to go to the upper left-hand corner again. There's a drop-down menu there that gives you the option to look at all of the web mixes that you have available. Online and Resources are two web mixes that come with Symbaloo and will give you some good options or suggestions of ideas that you may want to explore later. There's also a Symbaloo gallery that you may want to explore later, and there's a way to actually create a web mix using a option called Quick Start. We're not going to do that today because we're going to fine-tune today's training to our university. So I'm going to click on the X to close that menu bar out. You have a Home tab that you can click on that's really the same as this little House tab. There's the Online tab that I mentioned a second ago. Resources tab. Notice on the Resources tab there's a lock button along with the next tab that I'll share with you later. Both of those are locked because those resources cannot be changed. Those tiles cannot be changed by us accidentally because they've been shared with us from another Symbaloo user. So what I'd like for you to do first is to actually click on the plus tab to create a web mix. So if you would, click plus. Then it gives us this window as an option. So we can add an empty web mix, and I'm going to ask you to call it Training 1. I'm going to ask you to leave this RSS feeds radio button unchecked for the time being. I don't think you'll want to use that web mix for RSS feeds. I mentioned earlier you can use a web mix that's already in the gallery. You can also use Quick Start. So this window gives you those options as well. If you would, just click the Add button, and now you have created your web mix. Once you've created your web mix, then you can go to the Options button, and when you click on the Options button, you have the opportunity to rename it if you should want to rename it. The wallpaper or background might not be to your liking, so you can click on the words Change Wallpaper or click on the drop-down arrow, and then you can change the wallpaper in real time so that you can see if you like the wallpaper or not. You can also personalize this and add your own image. So we're going to click out of that or collapse that window. You can add something called a web marker. And when we add the web marker, click Add Web Marker, it turns that button on. Then we would click and drag in the area that we wanted to mark or add a marker to. The newly marked area then can be named. So for example, you could name it Course 1 or actually give the title of your course there. Later you can come back and remove the marker without removing the tiles. You can group these tiles so that they all stay together on your Symbaloo page, and you can expand those tiles. And we can also change it to have a color or border that surrounds those tiles. And then you can click Save. So I just wanted to show you how to do that as an example. You don't have to do that right now. We can come back and do that later after you've added some tiles if you want to. So I'm going to ask you to click on this Edit Web Mix X and close out that window. Now we are ready to actually add a tile. As you drag your cursor across the web mix, you can see that there are lots of tiles available so that you have places to add the tile. I'm going to ask you just to click on the blue plus sign that says Add a New Tile. You can create a new tile. That's what we will do first. You can search for a tile, and you can browse tiles by category as well. We're going to click Create a Tile. And I think the first thing that we really should add is a tile for Rogers State University's website. So I've pulled that up in another tab. I can copy the website URL and then go back to Symbaloo's tab and paste that into that particular add the address of the website box. When I click Name on the tile, I can click in the box that says Add a Name for the tile, and in just a second the Rogers State University URL is recognized by Symbaloo, and the words Rogers State University automatically fill into that box. You can choose to have that show on the text, show text on the tile, which I tend to like to do. You can notice that it automatically picked up the mascot, There are different icons. If you wanted to choose to change to a different icon, you can. If you want to upload your own image, you can. Then I'm going to just click Save, and now we've created a tile for Rogers State University. At this point, we've all created a web mix, and remember, each of these tabs are called a web mix. And our web mix that we created, we called Training 1, and we've all created one tile. You can come back later and create multiple tiles. What we've looked at so far shows us how to use this from a personal standpoint. So how could we use this as an instructor? How can we use this to assist our students and to teach our courses? I've created a couple of examples for you to view. One would be this web mix that belongs to a certain instructor. In this web mix, the instructor would possibly put everything that they are going to use for all of their courses. This marker, when you cursor over it, this is grouped together, and it indicates that these are links or helpful websites for all of this instructor's courses. And this instructor, from the looks of it, would probably be an English instructor. So Purdue OWL would definitely be something that would be an interesting link for these students to have access to. It's also a link other instructors might be interested in. One thing that's nice about the links is that when you click on the tile, it opens the link in a separate tab so that you don't lose your link to the Symbaloo, and the students can just tab back and forth. So every time you click on a tile, it should open in a separate tab. This instructor created a section that's marked for their English comp course, English 12-13. They've got the syllabus there, they've got a link to huge labs, and they could add multiple links and expand that section. They also teach English Comp 2, and they have that indicated also by the course number, but some people, may get easily confused with the two course numbers, and so it's easier just to maybe mark that one with the actual name of the course or the common name of the course that everyone calls it. Another possibility is for one instructor to have a web mix for every single course, so a web mix per course. So for example, this instructor has a Getting Started section for the syllabus for Math 15-13, along with other essential Getting Started links that would be indicated with those tiles. Then the instructor can simply share that web mix with only the students that are taking Math 15-13, that are only taking that course. Perhaps the same instructor also teaches Math 28-43, so they could create a web mix that is just for that course, just for Math 28-33. This is ideal for flipped classrooms so that you could possibly record the lecture portion of the course, store it on YouTube, have a link to that. Ideally, the students would view the lecture prior to attending class. Then they could spend their class time collaborating with you and their classmates on how to work the problems and solve the problems. Another option for classroom use of Symbaloo would be to assign your students work to create a Symbaloo, and then they can work on that possibly in small groups or possibly as individuals. And then when that is complete, they just share. They click the share button. They can share this privately with friends and then share my web mix. And then all they have to do is copy that link and email that link to you, to their instructor, and then you have their work that you can evaluate based on their success. Thank you for joining me today for Symbaloo training. Please remember that I'm available to help you. We are all in this together. So please contact me via phone or email if you need more help. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. Have a good day.